Welcome back to episode 10, anniversary episode of Infinite Volume, the podcast where we talk shit and try not to get hit. About anime and manga, I should add that in. So, this episode, we're going to be talking about power systems. Anything from My Hero's quirks to Jujutsu's cursed energy and domain expansions. But before that, Nate, how did your domain...
I feel like you were supposed to bring up another example with the way you set that up.
No, I said My Hero's quirks to... I said from My Hero's quirks to Jujutsu Kaisen's cursed techniques.
My brain completely blocked out quirks. I don't know why.
Because they... Yeah, no.
My bad.
Oh, yeah, I also ruined my transition.
No, I had a good one. I was going to ask if, yeah, we've been talking a lot of shit. Has anyone threatened to hit us yet?
I don't know. I haven't seen any comments on the YouTube videos. Leave a comment if you want to hit us.
What?
Abysmal start.
No,
I will not be a part of that hitting.
It wouldn't have been...
I will hit back.
So Jayden's the cuck. I understood.
What? No.
Jayden will be watching us get hit.
I'm swinging back.
Oh, that's what you meant by that. Okay.
Yeah.
So, my transition was gonna be, and still is, but now it's happening right now. Nate, how is your domain expanded this week?
What?
Well, listen, the lead up, let me redo that intro. Not the whole thing, but from anything from quirks in My Hero to curse techniques and even domain expansions in Jujutsu Kaisen. Nate, how was your domain expanded this week? That's how it's supposed to go.
It doesn't sound any better.
It didn't need to sound better, it just needed to come out.
I think it might be our best transition so far. That's actually insane. I mean, I don't know how to go anywhere from here. My domain certainly wasn't expanded, but I can talk about some stuff I've done. We've had quite a break from the podcast. Reeling it in a little bit. It's been almost a month since the last main episode. A lot of stuff happened. There was the rematch, beta going on that we were all a part of, and we were all having trouble after that, kind of linking up, but we managed to squeak one in here for the viewers, the lovelies at home. During that time, I started streaming. This past week, this Wednesday and Thursday that just blew by, I did my first 2 3-hour streams apiece.
Nice.
And they were pretty fun. I've been doing the idea what my streams are. I want to do storyboarding stuff, so I was storyboarding for a new animation, which I'll talk about in a second. And then for the last hour of both those streams, I just played a game. So my first stream, I did a little bit of Fatal Fury, which was fun. And then second stream, I checked out Starvaders, which is a really cool new indie game. Logan, you might want to check that one out. That one's really fun. It's like One Step from Eden, but with a little bit of Slay the Spire in there.
Okay. I think I actually might have that on my wish list, but I could be wrong.
Well, now it's in your Steam Family Share library. Good sir.
That's true. I forgot about that.
Yep. The animation, Covered Up, came out this week, which has been it has gone nuts. Jay, I know you, like me and you were making some jokes back and forth about how well it was doing on YouTube. Have you seen the last couple days worth of views it's gotten on Newgrounds?
No.
We passed 1,000 views.
Oh shit.
On Newgrounds. And it's still front page. I think it's front paged for a week, so it's been doing really well. I'm very happy for. So I only do for the listener. I only produced it and I storyboarded the episode and I storyboard
it's
future
over.
episodes as well. So this isn't. I didn't like write the characters or anything like that, like some of our other Lanchas projects, but I was involved to a certain degree, and I'm really happy for the team. I'm happy for the showrunner AJ, our podcast guru. He's like our master Roshi when it comes to the podcast. If I have any questions, I go ask him. Very happy for him. Very happy for Lag and Ikaru, our two animators. Danny joined towards the back end, and they helped with some back end stuff. So going forward, we got a team of 3 animators, me and AJ, and then the VAs, whose names I'm blanking on. I know Jay is one of them, which I was confused about because I was thinking Jayden and then Jay from the Discord.
No, not me, not me.
And Ugin. So that good job, guys. I'm happy for you. I'm really excited to see where the series goes.
I would clap right now, but it would peak my mic, so I'm not
Yeah,
gonna do
it probably wouldn't do. Craig
Just
couldn't
put in
handle it.
just put in a clapping sound.
Yeah,
In
just
post-production.
add in applause right here in post.
But that's really just been it. I've been just doing a lot of back end stuff to try to prep for the streams, and then the streams happened, and then I've just been kind of winding down from the streams, and then the animation, just in between life, I've been trying to manage getting that all set up and figured out. I think the night we posted it, I was at work and I had to do my full shift and then come home and very quickly piece together, like getting the thumbnail together and the description and getting them posted and uploaded. So hectic, but good. It's been a good week. What about Jay? Jay, how you been?
Well, last week I was not feeling good, as you guys know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm feeling a lot better now. I took my first final today. I have 2 finals left and 1 project left to do. And then, knock on wood, I'll be a college graduate.
Oh, heck yeah. I can't wait to stop using that stupid edit of the cat sitting at a desk that I found on Google. Have you seen that edit, Jay?
No, I have not.
Okay, hold on. I'll post it in podcast content for you. I've been every time. So almost every time we do small talk, you bring up your school stuff, and every time I use the same image.
You really?
Yeah.
He does.
Have you seen
I
it?
normally, when I watch the
saw it,
podcast
yes,
back,
I saw it once.
I
Okay,
normally
yeah.
just skip over to small talk.
I probably wouldn't have even thought of it, but I used it again in the Silent Voice episode I just edited as well. Which, by the way, I had done my stream yesterday and then immediately had to finish editing the podcast episode, and then it was 2.5 hours, and I was like, oh my god. It was an
So-
interesting time to be alive.
I meant to tell you this last time, but we didn't actually record like the podcast. We did the special episode.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I was gonna say, once I'm back on my computer, I can probably help out with the editing now that I know how to use DaVinci.
That will be exciting. That will be exciting stuff. Save a bit of time for sure. Not that I dislike the editing. I honestly,
I
I
really
say it
like
was
editing.
misery because it just kind of took out 2 hours of my day. But it also, like, it's relaxing. I like listening back and like kind of getting a recap, for me at least, because obviously I was there when we talked about it, but like just remembering what we were talking about and like seeing where we went with our thoughts and stuff. Sometimes I feel like when we're talking, we're not like, I don't know, sometimes when I'm talking at least, I worry that I'm not coming off across as like intelligent, I guess. I don't know how else to phrase it. Articulate,
Well spoken.
but well spoken, thank you. But
Yeah.
listening back to the podcast, I am reassured. I think we do a very good job, all 3 of us.
Thank you.
Anyways, here's the picture of the
Thank
cat.
you.
That is the one.
That is the one.
Oh, yeah.
I've used that
I've
at
seen
least
it.
8 times.
8 times. Damn.
Yeah.
We only have 10 episodes, bro.
Yeah, because there's also
We
this
talk
edit
about it a
of it when he says he doesn't have school. That I get to use that one. Oh, fun times. Fun times had by all.
I would like to
You gotta
point
find the
out.
cat graduating.
Oh, never mind.
I
was
do.
gonna say-
I'm gonna throw a graduation cap
Oh,
on,
that's
like,
amazing.
your cat for like an episode, I think.
The episode after I graduate.
Yeah. That's a good idea. That's a good
No, we
idea.
should do
I'll
a
make it.
live vlog of Jayden's graduation party.
For the
Well,
podcast.
I
Yeah,
will
for the
not be having
podcast.
a party. That's already
What?
been decided.
Why
Yeah.
not?
What?
I didn't really feel like it.
We should all
Alright,
get
well, how
together
about-
and go
yeah,
to
how
the
about a
Naruto
cookout?
orchestra and have your cookout graduation there outside of the venue.
Yeah, that way we don't have to buy tickets. We can just freeload and listen to the music outside.
Yep, and it'll be like you're having a party because
Okay.
there'll be music. So I think it'll be good.
Good idea. We don't condone
It
any
is
of
a good
this
idea.
behavior. Except
What do you
for
mean?
partying and listening to music. But don't sit outside of a concert venue and not pay for the tickets because, you know, the same way you shouldn't emulate games on Nintendo consoles. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
This,
if
Do you
there's
catch
any
my drift?
company, maybe.
no. Do you catch my
Oh,
drift?
okay. Yeah.
Yes. We don't condone this behavior.
Jay, yeah, anything else happen besides school stuff?
Not really, no.
Yeah, you don't want to go into our tenure with Madden, or
I mean, if you want to bring it up, I'll talk about it.
I think you have a unique perspective on that
Okay.
situation.
So, myself and our friend Aiden, we play a lot of Madden. We play every year, and we normally have another third, but there was an incident, and the third no longer plays with us now. So we decided to get back into Madden this week, and no, we were like, Aiden was like, "How about we have Nate join us?" Because we've done college football, just the two of us. But we've realized that with Madden specifically, 3 tends to be pretty good. So we invited Nate to join us, and Nate could not grasp how to like play. Like there would be moments that he'd look good in game, and then he just gets so frustrated so easily that he just practically just quit. I'm pretty sure you went what 0-9
Yeah, I did
before
not.
you
I
retired
didn't
your
have
player.
a great.
But you know what? I do
League.
got some good news for you.
Oh.
We've played an extra 3 weeks. The Miami Dolphins went 2-1.
Oh, heck yeah,
Not
I'm
2-1.
glad. I'm
Sorry,
glad
no,
they're doing well without
not
me.
2-1. They went 1-2 without you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Never mind. I'm glad they're doing bad without me. Nah,
But they have finally won a game.
I did screw that that team.
Well, no, you
I-
may have made that team like
In my
the
defense,
team might go off.
I don't know everything I should probably know about football, or American football. It wasn't really my sport growing up. I wasn't really a sports kid growing up, which I think we've talked about in the podcast.
Yeah.
But I have learned the essentials and the basics of football. I enjoy watching football now with you guys. Because I know you guys like football a lot, so I put a little bit of effort into like learning the sport, you know? Madden as a video game is actually atrocious. Like, it's atrociously abysmal. It is so bad. I despise that game with my being. It made it like so. Anytime I felt like I was learning something playing it, and like the game would just do some nonsense or like throw a new mechanic at me that was never explained to me by the game, and then I would just get frustrated because I didn't know what was going on. So I think there's a future where there's a new league and a new football game once Madden or once EA goes bankrupt or whatever. But like until that day,
I don't think it will ever happen. People
I just
think
want
it's
to play
fun
games with my friends, man. And Madden is stopping me. That is where I'm at. Because I feel like I don't need to know every little minute detail about football or how to read coverages and stuff to be able to perform in a football game.
See,
But for
I don't.
Madden specifically, it
I
feels.
don't either. I don't know how to read the coverages perfectly. I can differentiate a cover 1, cover 0, cover 2, and cover 3. I can't tell a cover 6. I can't tell a cover 4.
that game did me dirty is all I'm saying. I will also take some blame, but I also did give it like 4 days of trying, like true college tries. And I just still could not grasp the video game. It's unfortunate. But I will say, if anything, it did give us some fun Nate rage moments. Because, man, I
Yeah.
got heated.
Is it my
That's
turn?
been like, yeah, Logan,
Yeah.
probably nothing Madden related, I'd hope.
No. Nothing Madden related.
Surprise! He's the new third.
Yeah, Logan, welcome.
He's taking over the Dolphins.
You can have Coach Tallman. I don't want him.
Oh, he's retired now.
He is retired.
That was Nate's coach's name.
Yeah, I had a guy called Tallman.
Was that a random name or?
He just
Something
made
you
it.
No, I made it.
Okay.
Felt
gotcha.
right.
Yeah, understood. Yes, sir. I've never said that in my life, and I'm never gonna say it again. That felt
Yes,
so
sir.
stupid.
Yes,
Like,
sir.
not even like that, but like I'm not even gonna say it again because I just said I wasn't gonna say it again. But yeah, that one, those words. Anyway, my week consisted of work and training for work and coming home, watching some
From
YouTube.
work?
Coming home from work, watching some YouTube, eating some food, getting some sleep, and then doing it again the next day. So,
Anything interesting happened in the month? It's been a bit since the last episode. I'm sure you can dig up something interesting that's happened in your life that isn't your injury.
I don't know. It's just been kind of like a last.
You went to go see Star Wars, no?
That's true. I did go see Star Wars. I also rewatched the Silent Voice movie with my cousin.
Oh,
It
really?
was her first time watching it. Thank you for jogging my memory.
Man, I wish you sat with me while we were editing the episode then, because there was a lot of, like, we did it more than I thought we did. It felt like every couple of points we made a comparison to the movie. And I wish, like, I just want clarity on whether or not we were right with what we were talking about.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, listen, her first reaction is, I remember it vividly. Obviously, it starts out with the time skip, like where he's, about to jump off the bridge. No, well, that comes after the time skip.
Oh.
So it
It's
does like a reverse
movie,
time skip where it starts out with him getting all the money for his mom, and then he goes to step on the bridge, and then he like imagines himself jumping, and then it cuts to him being a kid. So when he was a kid, she was like, "What the fuck, Logan? How do you like this guy after this? You like this guy?" Like, and I'm like, "Yeah, just watch it. Like, you'll start to feel for him. I promise you." She's like, "I don't know." And it was right before he screamed in her ear, or like ripped the hearing aid out and made her ear bleed.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, he can't come back from this, Logan." And I was like, so basically, she also hated Miki and Ueno, just like us. She was like, they're bitches.
Well, I
man.
defended Ueno pretty hard.
Well, I did too, but again, she's
understand.
annoying and stupid and dumb. Anyway, yeah, she didn't like Miki. She was like, I hate her fucking voice. She's so fucking annoying. And we were watching the English dub, that was the first time I had watched the English dub.
Was it good?
And I will say, I think all the characters did a great job. The only thing I will critique is that the fucking scream that Shoya does when he's like saying when he's in the apartment and he's about to run to her and catch her after she jumps off the balcony, he's like, "Shogo!" and he like screams it. But in the Japanese, it's like a 5-second scream, and they do the zoom in, and it's like it's got echo and rasp in the voice. But in the English, it kind of just sounded like he was just right next to her and like tapped her shoulder and was like, "Shoko!" Like, it just sounded there was
Don't do it.
very little effort put into that moment. Well, I'm not
Yeah.
going to say little effort, but in comparison, that's like comparing Sean Schimmel's Goku Blue transformation in the Goku Black arc to the Japanese version. Like, the English version is better than the Japanese in that sense. But this time, it was the opposite. Like, I think the
Happens all
sub
the time.
did it way
Happens
better.
all the time. It's interesting. Dragon Ball. I like that you brought up Sean Schimmel because Dragon Ball's like voice acting stuff is so different to me because I grew up with the English VAs, so like there's really I like the Japanese voice actors for Dragon Ball, but like nothing's going to replace the English VAs for me. That's just like how Goku sounds. That's how Vegeta
Yeah,
sounds to me.
I watched the English.
Like when they
watched
swap.
when I watched my first time watching it through, because I started from the
Yeah.
very beginning of it. I tried watching Japanese. I was like, nope, on to English.
Yeah, when
Even
I
like
watched
as someone
One
that
Piece,
didn't
that it
had
was
never
a hard
watched
swap
it
I had to
before,
make.
like as someone that had never watched it before, I just felt like because I had seen clips of it, and just like watching in English just felt like more natural.
Mhm.
And I like One Piece. Like I'm watching One Piece in English because that
Yeah,
feels like
there's
more
going to be
natural to me.
maybe you'll be lucky and everything will be I think they're making a bigger effort to do it now. But back when I got caught up with One Piece, I want to say like 2016, 2017, 2018.
Long time ago.
They're on it, yeah, almost 10 years ago at this point. They weren't anywhere near caught up to the Japanese subbed on the English dub side. Like they were whole arcs behind, like hundreds and hundreds of episodes.
Yeah.
So I got to like I don't even really remember. I think I got to Dressrosa and then I had to just completely from Dressrosa all the way to Whole Cake, which One Piece fans listening will know how long of a jump that is. I had to swap from the English VAs to not even. It was Punk Hazard, I think.
They're
to
actually
Whole Cake.
sorry to cut you off, but they're according to Google's AI, they are they're now at the same episode.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. They were so far off for so long. I just to completely switch. I think I had to do the same thing for Hunter x Hunter as well, but I don't fully remember why. It might have just been like Netflix only had so many episodes or something like that.
But the owner be like, "We're back." 2 months later, we're going back on hiatus,
We're going
guys.
back on hiatus. We'll talk about that at some point. That's like a whole episode in of itself, I think. But we'll be talking about Hunter x Hunter, I think, actually, this episode for power stuff. That might
Yeah.
be a good transition. I think their power system is probably like I'm definitely not the first person to have this opinion. But I think it's probably like the golden standard for a really solid, concrete, intricate power system in a story. And I have a feeling both of you don't really know much about it. Because I don't think either of you have really watched or read Hunter x Hunter.
No. I have no idea.
It's
Awesome.
on
So
my.
I can't wait to
list.
butcher it for you. But before that, I think we need to take a step back. And, I realize we haven't talked. I think we did this in the last episode too. We didn't really talk about like recent chapters in the last couple weeks of stuff going. Oh, maybe I did. I think I brought up Tokyo, Kaiju number 8, right? I feel like I have a
I
vague
think
I
we
memory of
remember
that.
that.
talked about it because in the end,
It's
Or
it's
it's coming to
ending
an end.
soon. It's like in the final parts here.
I think you had mentioned it in the last episode.
I'm trying to think. It's been a couple days since I've read anything
I
from
haven't
Shonen
read
Jump.
like
Oh,
anything. Like I haven't read anything in a while.
we got a
I've just been-
cancellation.
Oh,
Tokyo Revengers mangaka started a new story called Astro Royale. And it ran for about 50 chapters, and then it got axed. I have a few things about it that it was fun. I liked the characters, but there were a couple of things wrong with it. Like the pacing was really rough. I felt like anytime we got to a place, we were there for a very short amount of time and didn't really get to like explore it all that much. It was just felt like this happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens. And the environments, like the premise of it was like there was just a big catastrophe, like a meteor hit Tokyo or something like that, or like just a big city in Japan, and it just like ravaged this whole area. And it was supposed to be like people, you know, recuperating from it and like how people reacted from it, and it like gave them, you know, shonen powers and stuff. But like we didn't really get to see a whole lot of the environment. It felt like at times, like there were a lot of like white space panels or like just panels focusing on the characters. We didn't really get to see a lot of the world building of the art side of things, which was a shame. I felt like it could have done really well if it expanded more in that area.
I had no idea it existed, so.
No.
Yeah, that's
I thought
fair.
you said Tokyo Revengers got canceled.
No.
I
I
was
think
like-
it's done. That's
Yeah,
been
Tokyo
done for a
Revengers
while.
has been over for a while.
Yeah. I mean, he wrote a whole other story for 50 chapters. I'm glad I actually said that because I was going to say as well, nothing annoys me more when there's a little bit of nepotism and favoritism. Maybe not nepotism, favoritism in their like editing departments for like who gets axed and who doesn't at Shonen Jump. Because like the Tokyo Revengers guy, there's so many other. We had a whole episode where we talked about what was getting cut in stories that got cut and whatnot. That I feel had a way better premise and like way better storylines than Astro Royale. And Astro Royale got to run for 50 whole chapters, and those other stories got like 17.
Sure.
It is what
They
it
do
is.
play favorites. But sometimes it's a good thing.
Sometimes it pays off. Sometimes it pays off. Sorry to derail there.
Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
Power.
Well, power systems. Log, you got
we're
a
just
good...
gonna...
Yeah, we should talk about like what is a power system, right?
Yeah,
What's your
analyze it
definition?
first. So, my definition of a power system is a backdrop to the way characters use their... Well, I know it's redundant to say powers in the definition, but you good, mate?
Yeah.
Did something fall?
I had a lot of chocolate fall out of nowhere.
Okay. So yeah, redundant to say powers, but that's the best way I can explain it. It's the way that powers are sort of set in a hierarchy, and it's kind of like, it's weird. This just the Hunter x Hunter talk reminded me of it, but it's basically a rock paper scissors, where like if a character's power is their main thing that they use to fight, their main aspect of fighting, then all the other characters either have a more powerful thing that will beat it out, or they have to find a disadvantage or an advantage to overcome that person. So it's basically just the whole leveling. It's basically like an RPG. Like you have to get to a certain level before you can fight a certain thing, but you could technically fight it earlier if you have enough experience or drive or whatever.
It can be a rock paper scissors thing. I feel like that's more so the power system is a vehicle to the way the characters use the powers. I think you went like a step too far in the explanation, if that makes sense. Like the power system is the building block, or like the roots of the foundation, and then what the characters do with the powers and like how they develop is, or how they interact with other people with the powers is built from that. Cause and effect, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Jay, do you want to add anything? You want to throw your hat in the ring?
I was going to say that it's kind of the rules and mechanics behind how
Yeah,
the characters,
that's a good way to phrase it.
like, how they use and grow their powers.
Yeah, that's solid. That's solid.
Yeah, I was explaining power levels, not power systems.
Good. You went a step further with it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that it was wrong, just like because you can have a power system, but you don't necessarily have to use it in a fighting context or like a combat context, if that makes sense. Like you could I'm trying to think of a good example, but the only thing coming to mind, honestly, is Sword Art Online. Like, in Sword Art, there's a character who just kind of has, like, a blacksmith vibe to them, and they just kind of, like, they just run a smith shop, and that's just all they do. But it's not really it's not necessarily a power, it's more like that's just how the game works, but, like, you get what I mean.
Awashi, to kind of like a certain extent. He has that ability to see the whole fields. That clearly nobody else in his worlds has.
That we know of
apparently.
yet. That we know of
Yeah,
yet.
that we know of. Yeah. Blue Lock. Don't they all have like their own like
Yeah,
special
but
abilities?
those are using it in combat settings, kind of. Like, combat doesn't necessarily mean throwing fists. In shonen, a battle can be anything from like you know how Death Note is considered shonen?
Yeah.
It's because it's like a battle of wits. Like you can use powers in many, many ways, not just in a fisticuffs. But I'm also just saying, like, I'm struggling to think of a good example of a world. Oh, a Ruri dragon. There's not really conflict that happens with Ruri's powers as a dragon, or like as like a half dragon, half human girl. But there's still rules in like development to her powers that affect her day to day. If anything, the shonen combat aspect of that story is how her powers, based on the rules of her powers, conflict with her day-to-day life. And we're talking about that first step, that like really solid, really fun power systems and building blocks that necessitate in, help drive our favorite stories. And as I mentioned before, we talked about Hunter x Hunter for a second. Hunter x Hunter being the golden standard. I'm going to throw the Nen chart up now on screen for the editing process. Nen is super cool. So there's like, the way it works is, I think anyone can learn Nen. There's like obviously like people who are gifted at it, or like it comes harder or easier to some people. But essentially, there's 6 different types, and then you have essentially one type, and then you can choose to create your Nen ability by crossing it with another type. So like, I could be horribly butchering this, but this is my understanding of it. If you look at like enhancement on the Nen chart, you could be like an enhancement emitter, or you could be an enhancement transmuter. But like, the further along the chart you go, like if you tried to make a power that was enhancement and specialization, it wouldn't really work out. On the same spectrum, like if you tried to have a manipulation ability that also used transmutation, it wouldn't really work out because you're trying to bridge the gap from a way across the grid there. So like the strength of your ability is determined by its neighboring affinities on the chart, and then like it kind of explains away like why a lot of different kinds of abilities are more common than others. In characters who like really know what they're doing, who are able to really take full advantage of the Nen chart, are able to show really unique Nen abilities that are the ones that kind of cross the gaps a bit. and it makes for some really interesting character designs and philosophies across the story. I want to say I'm going to just look this up because I don't want to butcher it. Gon's, the main character, his Nen affinity, I think it's enhancement in probably a mission, if I had to guess, but let me double check. Yeah, he's enhancement. He is a proficient enhancer, according to the Wikipedia. And it probably, I guess his aura doesn't detach from his body now that I'm thinking about it. So maybe he's just like 100% an enhancer and he hasn't really like delved into the other charts yet. The thing that's cool about Nen is that you can develop your Nen as you go. So like you can start with, like Gon starts with the Jakan ability, or Jajanken is the rock, paper, scissors. But he can, if he wanted to put time into developing it, he could learn to add some emission to it or transmutation to it and come up with a like completely new ability.
Seems very complicated.
It is very complicated, but not that complication is necessary, right? But the more complicated it is, and if you can manage to have sound logic with it, the more rewarding it is. Because what this kind of stuff leads to is your reader can read week to week, or in Hunter x Hunter's case, millennia to millennia, and kind of intuit themselves what a character's ability is, even if it hasn't been fully explained to them. Or like just kind of based on the character and what we know of them and what we've seen of their ability and what we've seen of previous abilities and how, Togashi writes and all that. Like it's fun. It's super cool. I was going to say that we've seen an ability too that kind of like takes use of I think the entire chart. Kurapika. I think he's specialization. So like, you've got, honestly, it sucks to say, you guys have probably seen it in Jump Force of anything, and if anything, his chains that he has on his hand, how there's like a chain on each finger. Each finger I think is a node on the Nen thing, on the Nen chart. So like, I can't remember which one is which, but like one finger is like an emission ability, one finger is an enhancement ability, that kind of thing. And it
That's
sets up
the
for
ant
really
guy,
cool
right?
stuff. No, Kurapika is the blonde kid with the red eyes.
Oh, okay. I remember him.
I don't remember what Meruem is.
Meruem, that's his name.
I know he has Nen. He's a mitter. He's an emission guy.
What's the fuck was his name?
Killua?
The one.
Leoria.
Is it this one with the white hair?
Yeah, Killua.
Yeah, Killua.
Yeah. Okay,
if
then.
I had to make a guess, I think he's a mitter, but let me double check as
Transmutation.
well.
That's my guess.
He is a transmutation.
Let's go.
Oh, I guess, yeah, that makes sense, because he turns his aura into lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I play a
Cool.
little Jump Force.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Sorry. Kurapika, I was wrong. Kurapika is a conjurer who also has specialization. So he uses, like, he went from conjuration into specialization and then focused so much on specialization that he's able to make use of the other Nen points better than most.
Gotcha.
Not to cut you off. Sorry, Logan. What were you going to say?
Well, wait, what was I gonna say?
You something about I played Jump Force, I think. Yeah.
It was a joke because you said you would know from Jump Force.
Jump Force.
But I didn't learn that about Killua from Jump Force. Or not learn it, but I've seen a little bit of Hunter x Hunter, just not enough to know anything else about the show.
Oh, you know what? I was a little wrong in my explanation now that I'm looking at the wiki. I should have probably done that first. So specialization, just in general, is a node that not a lot of people can really tap into. That's a rare Nen type. But my explanation of like going across the Nen chart is still kind of holds up. So like if you were a transmuter, you would have 100% affinity with transmutation. Then if you go around the wheel, enhancement would be like an 80% affinity, emission of 60%, and then manipulation of 40%. And then conjuration would be an 80% as well. So specialization's a little weird. I don't fully understand it myself, but like I said, it's kind of like a niche scenario. But it's fun. I mean, I was able to just talk about it for that long, basically to myself, and I was having fun with it, just thinking about it. It's fun to like come up with abilities too, with this kind of power chart, which I think that's like the sign of a good power system. Or like if you can come up with a power and then just kind of plug it into your system, then you know you got a winner.
Yeah. I think, where the fuck? I just had a train of thought and I lost it. Oh yeah. To go off of that point, I think one of my favorite power systems is, and I know it's probably cliche, but Jujutsu Kaisen's, not even just, not even, but I would, if you just took out the domain expansions, it would still be probably one of my favorites because I feel like there's not necessarily like a distinct power system in place in terms of, you know, what certain characters can and can't do. It's just if you're a curse user, then your curse just it's similar to My Hero in a sense where if you get a curse that could help or hurt people and then you're like evil, then you turn into a bad guy. And if you have a curse that could help people and you're a good person, then you're basically a good guy. But in Yuji's case, he has a curse that the curse wants to hurt people basically, but he's using it to help other people. And I feel like that's pretty cool way to differentiate the personality types in juxtaposed to the powers that they have, if that makes sense. And somebody like Mahito is an example for the evil side of things. Like, he basically he was like fucking abused and shit. And then,
they're very like personality driven.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Mahito specifically is like, so domain expansions in general are like at their core a surefire hit ability. So like if you trap someone in your domain expansion, there's not supposed to be a way that you can avoid the impact of it. So for Mahito, what makes his cool is that he's kind of a child. Like you said, he's not really like all there. So his whole thing is that he's just going to touch you with the sure hit, and that's all he needs because of his normal cursed like power of being able to transmute somebody.
Yeah.
So that's all he needs. So it's such a simple ability. So all like it's very. I think he can manipulate the soul or something like that.
Yeah, he has to. If he touches your body, he can just impact you in like a normal fashion. But if he chooses to touch your soul or like grab a hold of your soul, basically like those little tiny things that he carries around, then that's like you're done, pretty much. Unless you're Sukuna, which we found out. And another ability that I think, or two other abilities that I think are really cool in terms of the way that they're balanced is Todos and Nanamis. Because those are so cool in terms of just what they do in general, but the fact that as a villain, if you're going up against Toto, you start to get the hang of things, but then you don't realize the depth of the technique that he has, and he can switch himself, he could not switch people, he could switch you and somebody else. It's just really cool. And then Nanami having the fucking 70% thing, like, who came up with that shit? That's awesome. I don't know. I just like the way, like you said, it's a personality-based power system. And everyone develops their own ways to use their quirks or curse techniques based off of who they are.
If Hunter x Hunter's Nen chart is like an example of a really complicated one done very well, then I think JJK's is one done like a very simplistic one done very well as well. Different ends of the spectrum. I think there's some unnecessary complications with some of the explanations later on with how certain things interact with each other. But that's like manga stuff. I won't get into.
I was gonna say, I didn't think that there was that crazy of a thing with the way any of the things worked.
There's like domain clashes, which happens in the anime, but like it gets like super in depth for like why certain things work and why other things don't. And at a certain point, my brain just kind of like glazes over while I'm reading it, and I'm like, big explosion and curses, yay!
Well, that's also the reason I omitted domain expansions from my reason for enjoying the power system, because that's just a rock paper scissors moment, like especially with Gojo's.
Yeah,
He just wins. Like, he's the gun in rock paper scissors.
it's crazy that it took this long to talk about Gojo in Infinite Volume, huh?
Yeah.
Didn't we mention in the first episode?
Wait, yeah, I make a joke about him.
Yeah, no relation to Gojo or Jujutsu, but
We talk about Jujutsu very rarely, actually, now I'm thinking about it.
yeah,
Maybe that's a good thing.
Maybe that's a good thing.
Why is that,
Have
Jayden?
you
Do
watched
anything
it?
to say?
No, I haven't watched it. I haven't finished season 1.
Bruh.
I'm behind.
Oh
Maybe
my,
we should.
you haven't even gotten to the fight with fucking Kugisaki and Itadori versus the two
Let me
brothers.
see where I'm at, actually.
think so.
That's like the last episode, I'm pretty sure.
season
So
1,
you
yeah.
haven't... That is such a...
Oh.
That is still my favorite episode of the anime.
After watching all of season 2, yeah.
Yeah, and the movie. I enjoyed it more than the movie. Just that.
It is a really cool moment, I agree.
Oh,
so sick.
nice.
And Cold Rain's OST behind it. Shout out Remember.
Probably not
song.
my favorite fight in the whole series, but I think my favorite fight is in the manga. But it should be coming. It's in the next arc. There's like 2 major... I guess technically there's only 1 arc left, but it lasts so fucking long that it's basically 2 arcs.
Well, I mean, half of fucking Shibuya... Actually, no spoilers, sorry.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Sorry, no spoilers.
Shibuya is also a relatively long arc as well. Jay,
Yes.
do you mayhaps have a power system that you enjoy that you'd like to share with the class? Or just want to talk about, maybe.
I know you brought up quirks. I want to talk about My Hero for a minute.
Okay.
Just, I like the way that My Hero sets it up. It's like each character's quirk is pretty much it's like unique to them. You know what I mean? Or it's like a low number of people that have like the same quirk as them.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of a combination between Hunter x Hunter and Jujutsu.
Yeah.
Because the typing of the quirk, like Kirishima's hardening, other people have that version.
Yeah.
Of the quirk, or they have that way of doing what they do, but they don't have his version, like skin hardening capabilities, you know?
They don't categorize the powers and quirks in My Hero that much.
It seems like everyone has their own,
which is an interesting choice.
Specific thing.
Yeah, it's just like
which I think that's more like kudos to the mangaka,
Yeah. Kyohei, I think.
just for being able to like, cause it's what 200 and something,
Let me double
Works.
check. I
and
think
within the whole entire series, something like
Kyohei,
that.
yeah.
It's probably
It's
more
like
than that.
I think it's over 200, at least.
Quirks? Yeah, like
Yeah.
so the way it works is you're like born with a power. You don't get to choose it.
Yeah. It's
Unlike
like unique to you.
Hunter x Hunter. And yeah, it's
Like
it
actually I
is
think
unique.
Toradorki Tor
Todoroki.
thank you.
Todoroki.
Yeah. Didn't he get it from one of his parents?
We got it from
Was
both.
that both of his
It's
parents?
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
like
it's
one
kind of
was an
His mom
genetic,
ice.
was
right?
ice. Yeah, his mom was ice and his dad was fire, and Dobby got
Yeah,
more
cause
fire.
I forget his name all the time, but the blue-haired kid, the running guy.
Ida.
Oh,
Ida,
Yeah,
thank you.
Ida.
He and his brother have similar talents. Fucking hell, quirks.
Quirks.
Yeah,
Fucking
yeah, definitely.
Jesus.
Shout
We'll
out
get to DU at some point, but not right now.
If we're bringing up My Hero, shout out Kirishima, my favorite character from the show. I don't know why I like those characters.
What's your
a lot.
What's your favorite quirk?
Jayden, you can answer that first. You brought up the series.
I haven't watched a lot, but it's got to be uh, Todoroki's.
Okay,
The fire and ice. That's
It is a banger. It's a banger.
understandable.
because
Nate, what's
he
yours?
can use like he can be used in a lot of like different situations. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like
Well, you
like
haven't seen the half of it, bro.
yeah. Like Ida, like what's he gonna do? He's just gonna run in there. Like he's the Flash. Like
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
the main character. I don't.
Deku,
Yeah.
Izuku,
Let's not,
Midoriya.
yeah. Let's not talk about. Like,
Yeah, he didn't
You don't
deserve
like
what he
Deku?
had.
That's crazy. He worked for it
That's true. He
a little
did
bit.
cry like a bitch for an episode, and then he
That's
just
crazy.
got it
That's
given
crazy.
to him. I'm kidding. But
The My
no,
Hero
he's cool.
disrespect goes crazy. I'm trying to think of what my favorite is. At first, I wanted to say it was what the heck is this character's name? Shinzo, the purple hair kid
Oh,
from the like tournament
oh.
arc.
I thought you were talking about Aizawa.
Aizawa, similar characters.
But yeah,
They both have like
Shinzo
cancellation
is
quirks.
really cool. He's sick. I remember
Yeah,
that fight still.
That's one of my favorite moments in the whole thing. He's a lot of fun. I like Overhaul. His quirk's a lot of fun. I think it's a good, like, villain quirk for sure.
Yeah. I think
what do you got?
I thought well no, I was gonna say I thought your favorite might have been Seto. The tape guy.
Oh yeah, the
I don't know,
kid by
that
the
just seems
elbows.
like a goofy Nate pick.
He is one of my favorite characters, but
damn.
he's probably not a favorite quirk. It's just kind of like a whatever quirk to me.
Yeah.
He doesn't really use it that much. That I don't have a lot of complaints about My Hero. Compared to a lot of the other people out here in the West, but here in the States, but
it's a weird show. That's my take on it.
My only real complaint is that there's a lot of characters who are really cool that don't really get an insane amount of screen time. It feels like they set up for that to happen, and then there's not a major payoff for it. A lot of characters get sidelined.
I was just about to say, the fact that they set them up in the first place leads you to believe that they're going to do something with them. And then when fucking Mineta just throws his purple balls at people and is horny, that's all he gets. You know? Like, do him some justice.
I think if it ran for a little bit longer, not even a little bit longer, if it just ran longer, like past the school phase of My Hero Academia and we were able to see these characters grow up a bit more, I think it would be justified because I could see it being like, just thinking of how the arcs are set up, we get to see a lot of what Deku goes through, but like, wouldn't it be cool if like after, let's say after Overhaul, we get to see like Bakugo meet like a really serious villain and we just stick with Bakugo for an arc. Or like,
Because we got that with Todoroki when Endeavor became like a big thing.
a
I
little
guess
bit.
Todoroki wasn't even part of that. It was more just Endeavor and
I'm
Dabi.
thinking more so like My Hero's kind of a play on like comic books, right? So are like Western comics. So I think it would be that they have a very villain of the week-esque vibe in Western comics. So I think it would have been cool if the arc setup was more like that. It felt like that's what they were going for the first half of My Hero, and then it just kind of drops off. And to focus on the Deku and Shigaraki stuff.
That makes sense.
I don't know. I would have liked to explore these characters as heroes more, as individuals, rather than just stick with Deku, I guess is my point.
I would rather that as well.
I still like the series a lot. I think it gets it catches a lot of flack out here.
Well, to cap that conversation off, my favorite quirk is Jiro's. She's the one with the aux cord ears.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I really like her quirk. And I
mean,
didn't like it until the part
or not Kirishima,
where
the electric guy.
Yeah, Kirishima, that's his name.
No, Kirishima's
Kaminari, sorry,
Kaminari, yeah.
Kirishima's the fucking rock solid guy. He's always hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
So am I. What?
Whoa.
No, so Jiro's, I never liked it. Well, I'm not never liked it. I liked it, but I liked it even more after the like training arc where she plugs it into the fucking ground and just like stun locks everybody that's standing on the ground. I was like, holy shit, that was sick.
Yeah, they can do cool stuff with their quirks. Quirks
And
are
after
fun.
Kaminari got that weird ass frisbee shit on his arm, I was like, hell yeah.
Got pretty cool. Yeah, his dual disc.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty sure I had like a Spy Gear toy when I was 5 years old. That was that.
That was reminiscent. Yeah.
But hey, I have custom Converse of him that my mom got me for Christmas, and I'm staring at him right now. So
I can think of those exact Converse.
Character.
That's what I thought about when I brought him up. Honestly.
Yeah.
They go hard. They're cool. They're not even cringe. They're good Converse.
They're painted, hand painted. Sick. Well, I guess hand stitched, not painted.
Can you guys think of like a poor power system? Like one that really kind of misses the mark for you? Because I can't, if I'm going to be truly honest.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Really? I was like, what?
Kidding. Core in the House. Like,
oh yeah. That one does slack
into the White House. Like, come on, bro.
That one's lazy. Yeah.
Not a power system.
Listen. Shout out to my sister. I know she's going to laugh at that, like uncontrollably. When she hears that.
Let's go.
Oh man.
I don't know. I can't really think of any. Maybe.
How Dragon Ball doesn't really have a cap. It just keeps on going.
Yeah,
but it only keeps on going pretty much just for Goku.
Or when it needs to.
Yeah,
when the story necessitates it. Yeah, that's a good
point. Let me rephrase that.
Blue.
I think it's Super.
No, it starts well before
Dragon
Super.
Ball.
It's all of it. I think honestly, past Dragon Ball, like Z and Super and GT, like all of them have the same problem.
I know Z. I love the original. I love Z, but like
I love Z as well. Don't get me wrong. I like Super as well. Like I like all of Dragon Ball. I'm a big Dragon Ball head.
Like I liked at the beginning where it was just like,
yeah, there was just techniques.
When Vegeta
with key
comes,
and stuff.
like when he comes to Earth.
And, well, now you're jumping. I
No,
thought we were talking about Dragon Ball. My bad.
No, on Z.
Yeah.
Where they have the they wear the things that Frieza
Scouter?
gives them. The
Yeah.
scout, yeah. And they
The
have like
Saiyan
a
arc,
rating.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, saying Namek arc.
Well, they have those like ratings, and then it's just like that arc ends just like, okay, those numbers, don't need to worry about them, because the Goku, or maybe that's a little bit later on. Goku just like can just like sense.
When Goku goes
They're
Super
fucking-
Saiyan, the power levels just go well out the chart. They just stop fucking mattering.
Yeah,
They,
and then it's
because
like,
Super
and at
Saiyan's like
one
a
point,
fucking multiplier
but
or
then,
some shit, so it just keeps
but then at
like
one point, they can just like sense what the power rating is.
Goku always can. We're not. They can't sense the power
Well,
rating.
Vegeta
They can
can, I think.
sense. No.
The aura.
They can
Is there
kind of
aura?
just tell. It's hard to explain. They can sense their they're like key. So like if someone's really strong, they can sense like a bigger key on that person than like say Krillin or somebody.
Yeah,
But like
Energy is crazy.
and then it's like,
yeah, what you're thinking of, Jay, is when Vegeta fights Goku and learns that Goku can do that, and then Vegeta teaches himself to do the same thing, so he stops using his scouter. Like he does now. One of the major things on Namek is when he breaks all the scouters, and Vegeta reveals that he can sense powers, but none of the Frieza Force can now because they don't have scouters.
also, uh, Gohan kind of just gets sidelined until Goku gets a new buff. He always stays like, he stays a little bit behind. They have like it gets to a point where it's just like, because Goku's now at what? God
What do
Kai?
you mean?
God
Is
Key?
that
Yeah.
is that with the is that where he's at now?
I
Well,
don't
he
know.
mastered Ultra Instinct. I mean, that's the highest I've seen him go.
It's the Ultra Instinct.
He's gone further
Oh
in the
yeah,
manga.
Ultra Instinct.
Oh, bruh.
Yeah.
Super Saiyan 4 in Daima, though.
That's true.
Yeah, they just power him up when it's convenient.
But then poor Gohan, like, I'm just like, he has to wait till his eye gets stronger.
Or he has
There's
to wait
not
until a movie.
really. There's like a very flimsy power system. Beast Gohan is the dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah.
They again, like Jay said, it's just whenever the plot necessitates it is when stuff happens really, which is pretty rough for a power system. I don't think that's I think you get a good balance when both the story and the power system play well with each other and not vice versa. You don't want one influencing the other super hard. Like in My Hero, the power system doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It influences the world building of that story. So like how people interact in that story with each other and like how society forms is impacted by that quirk system. And by doing that, the world building kind of keeps the quirk system in check. Similar to Nen in Hunter x Hunter, really powerful Nen users have Hunter licenses for the most part, so they can like go off and use their powers legally and like go and do these odd jobs and stuff. To kind of, help keep things in check and keep the world running. But in Dragon Ball, it's just like, yeah, there's like a turtle hermit. He's got a floating cloud. Doesn't really matter how that works.
No, and they also, in Dragon Ball, they do something where when there's one character that gets to a certain level, there's always another character that goes right below it but doesn't actually go above it. And not just with Vegeta and Goku, but like
I was about to
earlier
say,
on
you're
in the
talking about the
series.
Vegeta effect.
No, I'm saying like even with Goku and Frieza, like Frieza goes full power, but it's still just slightly below Super Saiyan. Like the hero almost always wins. And like Goku, Ultra Instinct, and Full Power Jiren. Full Power Jiren was just, I mean, Ultra Instinct sign was just below Full Power Jiren, or not even Full Power Jiren. It was just below
Just normal
Jiren in
Jiren,
general.
yeah.
And then as soon as Goku powers up to Mastered Ultra Instinct, Jiren goes full power, but that's still not enough to beat Ultra Instinct Goku. Like Goku always wins because he's just
Yeah.
that one step above everybody. And I get main character energy and all that. Like, can't sacrifice, can't kill off. Well, you can kill off the main character about 7 times, 3 times before it gets old. But
He's always late.
yeah, he was late to his fucking son's birth in
crazy.
childhood, and he was also
I
late.
know. Well, the way that Goku's written in Super, I have. Really
We
strong
know you
feelings
have
about.
gripes with, yeah.
Someone I don't have gripes with though is Naruto. I
Naruto
like Naruto.
Jutsus?
I like Jutsus.
Okay.
It's almost the same as Jujutsu, but it's kind of more grounded in the
It's like a
world, I'd say.
learned art
Yeah,
rather than an innate ability.
exactly. Like you have to actually hone the skill.
Like Nen, similar to Nen.
Yeah, you gotta work to have a Rasengan the size of a fucking planet. You actually have to go up against like 20,000 badass enemies rather than just starting
And train
off.
and yeah.
Yeah, rather than starting off the anime and having everything at your fingertips. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I getcha.
And also the fact that people can learn other jutsus and they're not just locked to that one thing. Like My Hero,
That's what I'm saying. It's like literally
just-
an art form in
Yeah.
Naruto.
it's so sick.
It is cool. I never really thought about it that way until this very moment, but I do appreciate Naruto for that. That's kind of a unique power system that I don't think really... Because you could... I guess in Dragon Ball, you can make the argument everything's a learned technique, but like... It doesn't really ever feel earned. Like, Goku literally mimics the Kamehameha immediately.
And they're not... Also, the techniques are similar, even if they're not called the same thing. Like, Vegeta's Gallic Gun is the same exact thing as a Kamehameha, but it's not the same color
Yeah.
or motion to put it out there. It's like the characters all have the same abilities, but they just call them different things and they're different colors.
You know, not to say that having a simple power system is necessarily a bad thing. Because like JoJo's has a relatively simple power structure for powers stands. But like the stands in of themselves all come with their own rules. So it's kind of like each stand is its own power system. So like one person's stand may operate on a completely different set of rules than another person's stand, and the fun kind of comes from the clash between those two sets of rules.
So it's like match specific almost.
Basically, yeah. I'm trying to think of a good example. The ones I threw up aren't necessarily it. The pylon, Superfly, the stand is the pylon. In the way it works is if multiple people are in the pylon, and everyone leaves, one person has to stay within the pylon. So the stand user of Superfly has to like live in the pylon. And when he shows up in part 4, he like tricks the main characters into entering the pylon, and then he leaves, and then the main characters have to figure out a way to like get him back in the pylon, using their stands.
What the fuck?
JoJo's is just a bunch of nonsense like that, but JoJo's is banger. Like, I love that. Sounds goofy, right? But it's actually a really cool part of the story. It's funny, but it is. It's interactions like that make the story fun. The only real like concrete rule Araki has ever really set is that stan users attract other stan users, which is kind of a sin, but we'll let it go, I think. At least he had the balls to say it instead of just like never really addressing why these people keep running into one another.
Yeah. Not a good explanation, but
No, it's fucking terrible.
is an
But
explanation.
it's nice that it exists and that he
Yeah.
commits to it. I mean, I also threw in Undead Unluck's power system in the podcast content channel. They're called negators. They're essentially just un and then like a verb. So like, or a descriptive, an adverb maybe. I'm bad at grammar. I am a writer. Hi, my name is Nate. So like undraw just means you can't pull out something. So like, I think undraw was a like a swordswoman, and then she got undraw and she couldn't take out her blade. But she can also use undraw on other people. So like the panel that I shared is like a character having his feet stuck in the ground and he can't take them out. And then unbreakable just makes stuff that can't be broken. Unforgettable, just a memory that never goes away. That kind of stuff. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Very simple. I would go into more detail, but I've definitely described Undead Unluck's power system before on the podcast.
Jayden, do you have any others?
I mean, I'm not sure if you can consider it a power system, but Fullmetal Alchemist.
Yeah, for sure. Alchemy?
Not bad, but good.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's similar to Nen, has a very solid structure, set of rules as to how it works. There's things that the people with the ability or the knowledge of alchemy are asked to do and to not do, but they can't necessarily enforce it one way or the other, except by force.
Mhm.
So,
And if you look at some shows, there's probably some shows that just like have power systems are just plot armor.
yeah, we talked about it. It's called
Attack on
Dragon Ball.
Titan would be another example of that.
Yeah, Attack on Titans isn't amazing. I don't really even fully understand it, if I'm going to be honest.
Well, half of the series is just about
don't get
the
the,
actual skill that you have using the ODM gear.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool,
And then-
but that's not necessarily a power
It's not
system.
power system.
That's what I'm saying.
My thing
That's
is,
the
like,
the
first
different
half, and then it's the
Types
Titan.
of Titans.
Yeah.
Like the
If it was just
I
the
don't understand
ODM
that.
gear, it would be, I feel like. But the sense that, like, there's a name for them. The people who transform into Titans. I can't think of what it's called right now.
Yeah.
But
The
those
Transformers.
Transformers,
I'm
Optimus
just-
Prime, the mech users, yeah, they just those were a little lame. I'm not gonna lie. It was cool for a little bit, I felt like, but then like as it kind of became a mainstay in the series, and Aaron wasn't the only one who could do it, it was just kind of like, oh well, we're just here now, I guess. Well, I feel like we we kind of lost the sauce a little bit on this episode. Does anyone else feel that way? It's been a very laid back episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also our first episode.
We're a little
we
rusty,
kept the same
yeah.
topic for 3 weeks, and we haven't recorded the topic for those 3 weeks. So I think if we pick a new topic and then record next week, it'll be
Yeah, we're just getting into
okay.
things. You know what we can spend some time talking about though?
Oh, the indie recommend. for this week?
Yeah, the indie recommend.
So I went on after I reread all of Nate's manga, Dragon Universe, on Global Comics. I also checked out some of the lesser known. It wasn't even in like the new. Actually, it might have been in the new because in the prompt or in the little description that they said they posted with it, they said that the artist, the mangaka, is Lychee Devil, And they posted a manga called Scarlet Vagabond, which was a one-shot that they made for Saturday AM's yearly Summer of Manga event. And I think the topic for it was like, I can't remember what the topic of it was, but
a villain of the week approach to storytelling.
Okay, there we go. So basically, the story follows this young woman who is out with her Master Roshi, pretty much. He's got like the hippie glasses, and he's an old man that can turn buff. But basically, she is just looking for. Basically, they're like rogues, like vigilantes that are trying to defeat like monsters that keep popping up, or like fictional, not fictional, like folklore monsters. Like the first one is a yajo, which is, according to this manga, a beast that likes to steal things from people, and they get like over possessive over those things. And then that's like their whole thing, is that they just protect that object. I don't know if that's how it is in actual Japanese or Chinese or whatever folklore that creature is from, but that's what it does in the manga. And they wanted to find her to get back the sword that she stole. And it's actually crazy foreshadowing after like rereading it recently, because in the beginning she asks the old man that's with her if he wants to borrow her nail file, because a few days ago he like had really long nails, and then they go to search for the yajo and try to take the sword back, and then they find out that she just wants to wrestle. Like that's literally all she wants to do, is she just wants to fight somebody, but her claws keep getting in the way of her fights. And then she gets offered a trade for the nail file and the sword, and she accepts it because then she can file her nails down and actually wrestle people without killing them. It's a very wholesome ending, and I feel like if it actually got turned into a manga, it would have a really cool, just like adventure style of writing. Like you said, villain of the week prompt. It would definitely work with this duo.
It has vibes of Demon Slayer a little bit, but like a much more approachable Demon Slayer, I think.
That's true. It does.
A lot more lighthearted, even though it's still like a battle manga.
It's like a slice of life action manga, pretty much.
I do want to say, Lychee Devil did mention that I think either at the start of the one shot or in the interview I read with them, I think by Global Comics, that the people in, I don't know about the people, but like the power system in Scarlet Vagabond was meant to be used in a future project, and this was just kind of their way of like, maybe not testing the waters with it, but they were using it as a base for the one shot. So they didn't really get to like explain it all that well in the one shot, but like it definitely looks like there's a lot to it.
Oh
which
yeah,
is cool.
I forgot she had like a fire kick that she did.
Yeah,
And
the main character has
like
fire.
A water ability. I forgot about that.
It's kind of like Avatar. Funny that you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, it is like Avatar.
It's cool.
I
thoroughly
thoroughly enjoyed it, and the art style is freaking sick. It reminds me of Flipnote Studio.
It reminds you of Flipnote.
Yeah, like the half tones and like having the grays be the shading, and then the black
I see what you're
clothing
saying.
and hair, and it just reminds me of that Flipnote, like the really good Flipnotes where people actually drew stuff instead of the, oh, what are you doing at the cliff? I'm just taking some pictures. You know that one? That was a classic.
Everyone knows that one.
Yeah.
Jay, you know that one, right?
Yeah, I know that one.
Wait, you actually do?
Jay, have you ever owned a DS?
Yeah.
Dude,
Oh.
everyone owned a DS if you grew up in our generation, bro. You wouldn't
That's
survive
true.
without
My
it.
bad. I didn't know Jay had that kind of game. Well, that was an episode of all time.
That was our 10th episode.
That was our total.
everybody. Woo! That's what I'm talking about.
At
That's
the
what I've
end
been
of
waiting
this
for.
episode, since this episode was a bit, I don't want to say lackluster, but a bit on the chill side, I'll tag on the April Fool's thing we recorded a little late.
Oh, okay.
Right at the end.
The
I don't
special-
want to
special
spoil it
feature.
for him. Yeah, this a little bonus to celebrate our 10th episode here.
All right.
I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about.
You don't remember
the
that?
special episode we recorded where we all
What?
picked a certain thing
Yeah, and we
Oh.
read it.
and then we
Yeah,
all did
yeah,
it
yeah,
together.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Stay tuned for that, guys. But from us now, at this point in this recording, I think it's about time we send you off for a good.
Wait, no, we gotta pick the next
What?
episode.
Oh, that's right.
Who is it?
It's me.
It's you.
Nate.
I mean, not you, Nate.
It's you, Jay.
Nate was the one talking when I was about to say it's Nate, and then Jayden said, "Who is it?" And I said I changed it to "It's you," because Nate was talking in my head still. He always is.
What do I want to talk about? That is a good question. I'm gonna toss up
One that's not on there.
anime-inspired video games,
Oh,
or where should you start Creator Edition? What do you guys
all right.
feel?
I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yeah, the career one. You got that.
Yeah, that's a solo episode for sure.
That's
Now, you need to bring AJ in for that one,
Yeah.
so you guys can talk about the pilot.
That's true.
At some point, we should have do an interview with
I'll have to look around So you know what's funny? I have been talking to a couple people on Blue Sky who kind of have that sentiment of wanting to do interviews and either be on the stream and talk about writing stuff and whatnot. I mean, I just had shout out to Boy Wonder, who is probably going to be the person for our next indie recommend. Stay tuned for next episode for that one. I was talking to him on the stream, on my first stream on Wednesday, and we were going back and forth about just some writer stuff, how to do good exposition and paneling and storyboarding and all that, and it was a lot of fun. He was just in my chat though. He wasn't speaking to me.
Yo, you know what's a good idea for that episode? We should have you and that mangaka as the panel, and me and Jayden can ask you guys questions about how would you go about doing this, or what do you think is your preferred way to develop this part of a story, or that
could work.
stuff.
That could work. Even if we can't get another mangaka, I'd
Oh yeah,
vibe with that style. Counter offer, we make Jay create a story from scratch.
Yo, that'd be sick.
I think that'd be funny.
We make him animate it himself.
Yep, he does all the work, and we take all the credit.
Exactly.
Yep.
We can call it
Jay.
Logan and Nathan's Grand Adventure. And then we could just put Jayden in the credits. Be did something.
I mean, I wouldn't
Jayden.
necessarily put him in the special thanks, maybe.
99.9% of the work.
Yeah, he's a Patreon donator.
Shout out to our
patron.
Patreon. Well,
so should we do that style next week, or should we do the anime-inspired video games?
I guess I don't know. What do you guys want to do? It was a toss-up. Jay,
Jayden,
you know what? Jay,
you
since
go.
you're the one making the story, what do you want to do?
Let's do the video game one.
Okay, fair. Anime-inspired
gonna-
video games next week.
It's still Nate's lead.
That's true.
Yeah, I can handle that, I think.
You can definitely handle that.
All right, relax.
What
Guys, just go listen to the funny extra bit. We're cooked here.
have a good.
Have a good.
We're cooked.
Very good.
We're cooked.